recording. The Council of the Whole meeting on February 7th, 2022. It is 10:01 a.m. I'm 4th Ward Councilman Mike Ray, and I'll be chairing this meeting. And we have Councilman Julius Oliver here, City Clerk Jennifer Ozinger, 7th Ward Councilman Basha Adamczak, 2nd Ward Councilman Jimmy Hughes, 5th Ward Councilwoman Lauren McNally, 6th Ward Councilwoman Anita Davis, John Braulich from YSU, the Director of Applied GIS, Samantha Turner, 3rd Ward Councilwoman, Tom Hetrick, President of Council, City Clerk Valencia Morrow, City Attorney Jeff Libyan, and Rick Deek from IT. I believe that is the roll call. After Friday's meeting, John Braulich provided us 2 maps, and version 5, version 6. I believe he said that version 6 was the more significant of the 2, and he incorporated the request that we made. Let me share my screen. I could pull that up, and then we could discuss that. Desktop to share. Let me know when you guys can see that.
We can see it.
It's up.
Okay. All right, John, if you want to give us a synopsis of what you've done here.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, the version 5. Okay, so that's where we extended the which I think is the one you had up.
Oh, okay.
First, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
So this is the version where we just extended the 1st Ward north to encompass Elm Street. So the Elm Street corridor there between Bryson Street and I think Ohio Avenue. And then revised the 7th and 6th wards to include South Avenue, about half of South Avenue in the 7th ward, put that back into the 7th ward, and then adjusted a little bit there on the 5th ward and 4th ward, just north of Mill Creek Park there. And then of course, in the 2nd ward, reestablished the we call the Rhine Horn or Rhino Horn there, which would I think be east of Crab Creek, but I think west of Garland Avenue or Fruit, or I'm not certain of the side street there off of Oak Street. But that reestablishes, as you can see from the purple boundary, which again, the purple bold boundary is the proposed or potential ward boundaries. The shading on the base layer would be the current. So that just reestablishes that that the 2nd ward the way that it's been for the last 7 or 8 years. As you can see though, that takes us from a range of about 7,500 people in the 3rd ward to 9,400 in the 1st. So that that doesn't really work. We're kind of right back to where we started at that point. So I'm thinking that version 5 is, I mean, I'm probably safe in saying that's off the table. So if we can go to 6. What this does is it's basically the same thing. Now this version 2, this is just extends the 2nd ward all the way to Crab Creek. Okay, so doing that, I think adds like 53 people or something shifts 53 people from the 1st to the 2nd, but it makes a more natural boundary because you're using the creek and then the Mahoning River as the boundaries. However, between the 3rd and 1st ward, this shifts the boundary from Belmont over to 5th, eastward to 5th. Basically, what you have is, you with the change in the northern part of the boundary near Wick Park, where the 1st ward is picking up they'll call it the YSU dorms and Elm Street, and then the third ward is picking up part of the Arlington neighborhood there west of Fifth, and then the county jail, which is probably the more significant piece. So basically, you're swapping. It's not a complete wash, but you're basically swapping college dorms for the county jail. In that, and I've in the the corresponding message that I sent out to everybody on Friday with the breakdown shows that. So this version is more distributes the population more equally, so which would be workable. But then that's that now I guess we turn it over to discussion.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments on version 6?
I'll chime in first.
Go ahead, Julius.
I'm okay with relinquishing part of the third ward. Well, I'm not okay with it because I'm losing a lot of my residents that are near and dear to my heart. But I'm okay with giving Samantha Madison to Wick, and those neighborhoods that lay within those boundaries. So the line would basically go up Fifth Avenue, hit Madison, come down all the way to Wick Avenue, would become the third ward. So between Fifth Avenue and Wick, from Madison up to Woodbine would become the third ward. So instead of that little snaggletooth thing, you just draw a straight line across from Fifth to Madison to Wick up to Woodbine, or I think is Arrow Street would be the final street.
Yep.
So
you're proposing to take out that looks like a middle finger, maybe. I don't know.
That's what I was shooting for Samantha, but I kept it cordial.
We got rid of the rhino horns and the middle fingers. We're cleaning. They're making this.
Well, actually, on the east side, I would rather not do the Crab Creek line. I would rather keep the line coming up. I don't know, what is that, Lane Street? So put the rhino horn back into make that the boundary line again for the east side. So Lane the fruit, basically.
I don't know where Jimmy has a strong opinion on that, or go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes, it works for me to get that clear to me. And most of that, what you're saying is that there's nobody even living there.
I know, so I'm gonna just keep it.
I don't know if that's in the preview. You just going to keep it. I think you had something to do with the rhino horn in the first place.
I didn't mess with the east side at all. I didn't mess with nothing.
Say what you will. You sure enough were digging me out a whole lot of stuff the first time around.
Yeah, I'm just getting taken from here.
Yeah, I see that. I think we should keep it going toward the river, and then the next time we do this, we should be coming from there to make the Crab Creek all the way across, all the way up. You need to get off the east side, partner.
You can keep. I mean, I would be willing to go from. I mean, you can keep everything down like Harry Street and all, anything that's blue over there. You can keep that, and you might be able to take a chunk up there, like by starting at like Federal heading east. So Stanford, Penn, Prospect, Lane. You know what I mean?
So squaring this off, kind of, is that what you were saying or what?
Basically,
No,
where it stops at where Cedar is, I would rather work my way over, keeping that in the first ward.
Where you see Cedar at?
Cedar is like one of the freeway streets down there, Cedar Street. Look like it's on the interstate.
Down by Rice.
am I missing this?
I don't know. I'm Julius. I'm trying to follow him.
Cedar is, I think they say Cedar Street. You got Hadnet, then Cedar, Gibson is in that little lump right there, just west of the line.
You see that, Mike?
No, where you start? You said Federal, so I'm here on Federal.
Down, Mike,
Down
to the left.
here,
Yeah,
Cedar. Okay, what are you saying to cut out?
just I guess you can just extend the line up through either Augusta Street and over the other way.
So you want to give him like this
Yeah,
and use Cedar as a boundary.
right.
That's really not. I don't know where you get the Cedar from crossing over those tracks and whatnot. There's no Cedar that comes over there.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
talking about what you?
So you
what
might
you
as well
got-
take the line back to the original then.
Yeah, I think John was trying to restore the natural boundary of the river. Correct? We use the natural boundary. We don't do it in downtown, right? Because we have to keep it contiguous through downtown. Doesn't make sense. Would that be true, John? But other places
Yeah.
it makes sense to use the boundary, or what's the
Right,
logic
yeah, I
there?
think that, the discussion on Friday, we talked a lot about Crab Creek as being a natural bound, and it, I mean, we define the east side as everything, north of the Mahoning River and east of Crab Creek. I mean, that's historically is, I mean, I think everybody would agree on that's the east side. The problem is that entire area, there's 10,000 people. So, that's where with the, keeping everything fairly equal, or at least within that 10%, then if you can only go and use Crab Creek as the boundaries, so far. So I think that's the idea here was to where the so-called rhino horn, to extend that over to Crab Creek and then down to the river, and then, keep the rest the same that it was. But like I said, beyond that, the original, second ward boundary there, which is, Lane Avenue. And then I think that it comes to, it's actually the ramp there, that heads south there to Wilson Avenue, and then Wilson Avenue to, I think, Pearl. You just, you extend that to the river and to the creek, and it's 53 people. It's not a, I mean, I think we're all familiar with that area. It's a lot of, commercial, industrial, and, vacant land mixed in. So, but
Really, I don't see where Julius is trying to draw. I mean, there's nothing to it really, other than we get the perspectives and everybody know who's the council, more so in the area, but it just connects to everything else. It just seems to be more practical to me to keep it with the revised part, this version 6, Julius. I don't see what you're trying to save here.
Saying I'm gonna lose some of my potential development over there when it comes to Crab Creek and the Mahoning River for what's coming down the line. I want to build a boardwalk and have something that people can fit.
I'm sure you're gonna be mayor by that time, Julius, and that ain't gonna be a problem. So you should look for yourself to be someplace else as well.
All right, Jimmy. The mayor compliment kind of won me over a little bit, so we'll let the line stay with Crab Creek. With your overconfident.
And
Okay.
version 6.
Go ahead, Jim.
He's saying let's stick with the version 6 as he wrote it out.
Okay. And I think he was requesting, not on your boundary, but if we go over, he was fixing the north side bump up.
Yeah, take that bump out off of Fifth Avenue and just run it straight up Belmont to Madison.
Okay. I believe, is that what I drew here, correct?
Yeah, but I'm talking about down further where I lose the jail and everything. Just run that
Yeah.
line straight up Belmont rather than cutting over to Fifth Avenue. Belmont to Grant. Yeah.
John, will that change anything? Will that be okay? Or does that throw that might throw Third Ward way too high? I don't know.
Yeah, because it's the part that we cut out to the north there. So there's
It was
there's like a 5 block, those are 5 blocks there.
That's-
There's about 100, the population there is 159. And then on the other side of Fifth, between Fifth and Belmont, you're looking at, I have my screen split. I'm trying to give you guys some real-time data. That's over 1,000.
because the dorms, the jail, all there's so much stuff in there, right? So
Because of the
kinda not
jail, the
useful.
jail, just the block with the jail is over 1,000.
Okay.
Samantha, you good?
So it's gonna, that's what is it? It's about a difference of maybe 800 or so.
Yeah, that's a large difference and that'll take me well over the 10%, obviously, because if we move this down here around the Wick Park neighborhood and those numbers as it is with just that change, what does that look like? There's not a significant difference, correct, John?
Yeah, that's 159, those 5 blocks just to the southeast of Wick Park. But the problem here is do you have the dorms? Okay, you have all these group quarters. Okay, so you have correctional facilities, you have college dorms, and there's with hundreds of people. And outside of that there's not a significant amount of people living in these blocks. I think.
You want the block with the jail on it, Samantha?
So
It'll make the lines weird, but you can take the block with the jail.
I guess what my question would be, what are we trying to accomplish there? Do you think Samantha needs more? I think she's fine with it, with having it.
You fine with going up Belmont?
I'm fine with it going up Fifth and splitting Fifth.
No, I don't want to lose Fifth and my whole neighborhood. Both.
Well,
you get one side of Fifth. You get the YSU side of Fifth.
Right.
Yeah, but I just did all of those. I mean, I didn't build them, but the dormitories and the charging stations, everything that's coming into the first ward to be then lost.
You'll have the city core. You have the bulk
You're
of
not losing it.
Just gave Jimmy all of my people over on the east side.
75.
That's a lot of people. They're gonna miss me.
Basha has had her hand up patiently for a while. Basha, did you want to?
Thank you. Just, I guess as you guys continue discussing the boundaries of the first and the third, when I was looking at the email that we received with number 6 and what the numbers were, say hypothetically, if Julius does agree to split the Fifth Avenue corridor, and if he's giving Samantha around Wick Park, he's losing population. My population is still relatively high. I was doing some of the numbers and it seems as though I would be able to extend my boundary and give the first ward north of Dewey and then going, what would that be? I guess northwest to Poland on Poland Avenue.
Okay, let me get there.
And that just extends the 1st and 7th ward boundary.
Where can you
Yeah,
guide
you're
me
right
to
there.
where?
Yeah, where Dewey is, it's kind of like where the 1st, 6th, and 7th meet. Yes, so if you go right, and then the street kind of curves. Keep going. and keep going to the curve up.
Here?
No,
This way?
no, just, no, I'm sorry, follow along the curve. So like continue going your right. I'm sorry. So it would be like up and to the right. Correct. Keep going,
Just keep going.
Yeah. And then keep going. And then that right there is Poland Avenue, and then just go whatever left up that. And I would still be within my population parameters. I would be somewhere in the middle, but lower middle, I guess, lower average. And
So
that
this would
make
still
up
be
for
the
some
line
of-
here. Would that
Correct.
be
And that,
correct?
yes, and that would give him some of his population back.
John,
So
how
that's
much of an
all I-
impact would that have?
That's 540. That's 545 people. Am I unmuted? Okay, yeah, that's 545 people in that area that you just
And
delineated
then what,
there.
and I'm sorry, because I don't have the other map in front of me. How much does map 6A currently have?
Well, you have to do 6A, the adjustment of what he gave up by YSU.
Well, I'm just even seeing for my population though, what
Oh,
that
yeah.
does. Because I'm
You
sorry, because
were
I don't have my
at,
finger.
you were 8,945 in version 6.
Wait, I'm sorry, you said 8,945?
Correct.
8,945 minus 545. I mean, that would put me at 84. I mean, that's still okay. That's somewhere around average. I just don't know what that does to,
That bumps
Julius.
Julius up.
yeah, because Julius, if he loses around Wick Park, that takes him down from, because what did he have, like 82 or something like
He did
that?
8235.
And how much is he losing with Wick Park?
That would be 159 for Wick Park.
Okay, minus
Okay, but then he
159.
would gain 545. Now the question is, what about Fifth Avenue?
159, 8079.
Shh, we forgot about, we're moving over here.
John, if we make the change at Fifth Avenue, I mean, around the Wick Park neighborhood and keep Fifth Avenue as it is, that doesn't take us out of our 10% range, correct?
No,
Okay.
No,
And
and then
then
if, I'm sorry, just very quickly, because then if Julius does agree to do the Fifth Avenue thing, that would bring him with what I would be giving him to 8621. Because he had what, 8235 minus the 159 he's losing around the park. And then adding 545 from my award would bring him to 8621.
And that is within the range. It's contiguous. Doesn't really do anything too wonky, does it, John? I mean, does it meet the smell test?
But we don't
yeah,
have to
yeah,
do
it's
that.
fine. Yeah, I mean, the numbers are fine. Yeah, that's assuming that this is assuming that west of Fifth Avenue stays in the third ward as it's shown on version 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of west of Fifth Avenue can stay in the third ward, but like I need to keep the block where the fire station is.
You can make that change.
Yeah, I want to be able to come up Fifth Avenue, cut down Commerce, cut up Fifth, cut back to Wood, and then back to Fifth Avenue. And then, I mean, we should be good.
That would put the jail back in your ward.
No, come up Fifth
Mhm.
with the boundary, make a right on Commerce, a left on Wood, and another left on Wood back to Fifth. That puts the jail back in the third ward.
They keep the fire station.
So this is the fire station here, correct?
Right.
So you want to come this way and do what?
Other way.
Yeah, you'd have to go the other way. You'd have to go keep that there's a little triangular shaped block
Yep, you're right, Mike. Right there.
that right there. That contains the fire station.
So you want this boundary to go from what here? I guess it would go.
Yeah, it would just include that
Yeah, up to
triangular
Commerce.
block.
Yeah.
And then head north on Fifth to Commerce, right?
Right, you can go, no, you can go up Fifth.
I make that smaller. I don't know if I can.
I'm sorry, you're gonna go up Belmont, you're gonna go east on Commerce. Right? And cut up Fifth. And
But
then,
you don't want to include the jail, right?
yeah, I want to give the jail block to the third ward.
So you
Okay,
just go
yeah,
like, you have to go
then
like
you-
this
then you need
then.
to cut over on Federal there, right? And then
here.
head north on Commerce and then a left on, or right,
This is the fire station right
right,
there,
yeah,
right?
take the fire station block and then
I'm only trying to give away
stay
the
on
block.
Fifth until you get to Commerce.
Right.
I'm only trying to keep the block between Wood and Commerce in the third ward.
Yeah.
But-
No, it's,
You can't because the jail's here. It's
yeah,
right
the
here, right? Is
jail,
that
the
what you're
jail
saying,
is
John?
in the next block north of the fire station.
I know. So you would come up Belmont, you would make a right coming down Commerce, a left going up Fifth Avenue, and another left on Wood.
No, but the jail's here, not here.
Oh.
That's what John's saying.
Right. So you would take
Correct.
the boundary line over to Belmont.
Yeah, so this,
But
go
So
ahead.
that keeps that island in the first ward.
am I doing this? Did I draw this incorrectly? Maybe I'm missing.
No,
something.
you doing it right.
But the jail's here. You're trying to lose the jail. The jail puts this in, right, John? Is that correct? Isn't the
Yeah,
jail
well,
here?
it needs to be the other way.
To the east of the
Yeah,
purple line.
yeah, the
First ward.
boundary between your ward and the third ward would be actually Fifth on that particular block, and then you can extend it back to Belmont and then do whatever, because there's, I think, like, 50 people or something that live in that. I can check that for certain. Yeah, everything to reestablish, in other words, this would be reestablishing the current boundary there, which would be, north to Grant and using Belmont, and then Commerce, that would be the southern boundary. Okay, and that.
So
would
John, could you tell me how to draw that? That I'm able to.
I'm sorry, we have yeah. Yeah, go ahead and, okay, so the triangular block where you are there.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
wish I could make
that,
this small. Or,
and then the next block north.
like that.
Yeah, well, no, head north on Belmont from there. So those two blocks would be in the first ward, because I think the jail, I think, is actually in the next one north. Isn't
Isn't the jail between Wood and Commerce?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
so
the only
it's-
block I'm trying to give away is between Wood and
Yeah,
Commerce.
so there's actually
So you want to just square this off here like that whole thing, because the jail is here. Is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
Okay. So you're saying just go like this.
Yes.
right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's actually yeah, the jail is actually, yes, between Commerce and Wood. So, and then
You go back down Wood.
Then go left on Wood.
and then make a left on Wood, right, to Belmont,
and
and then north.
North.
To what?
Grant.
To Grant.
Okay.
And then
Well,
that is
that-
only 63 people.
Okay.
And then the jail stays in the third ward.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
That does. Let me,
So then the first ward would gain what, 63 there, plus 545 coming from the 7th ward, and then minus the 149 from the Wick Park area.
so we
So
did
that
this,
brings to
right?
86, 84.
Yeah,
This is what we did, right?
yep,
Okay.
yeah,
And
sorry.
this is where the jail was, correct, everyone?
Correct.
Right,
Okay.
yes.
All right. All right.
And that would be a net gain for the first ward, I think, of 449.
Okay. All right.
Any third ward and second ward and got me.
Really?
Any other discussion?
I just don't want to hear no more arguments on council.
And this was sticking here, right? So we had these two proposed adjustments. Okay. Other discussions or observations? Anyone wishes to share?
If
Samantha,
you could,
if you commented, you're on mute.
I am completely fine with the changes we've made.
I bet you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Julius, you got a $1.2 million gas station.
Exactly. Look, no one is losing anything. No one is giving away anything. We are 7 people working together to make our city better. And if we continue to work together and work alongside the administration, all of our business districts and our downtown areas will be great as well. So I am completely happy. Thank you for doing all this work for us, John, and working with us as we change and shift and move neighborhoods. But the focus is really just the people. We're not losing anything. So I'm completely okay with what we're done here today. So thanks.
Thank you, Samantha. Well put. Couldn't have said it
Yeah.
better myself.
Yeah, I lost a lot. Thank you, just for the record.
Okay.
Well,
Anita,
Mr.
go ahead.
Julius, you take care of my folks over on Pasadena. They're a wonderful bunch of people. And I'm gonna miss Janice and them, but I'll still see them in person, but I'm gonna miss I have relationships with them and I'm gonna miss some of them.
Everybody send each other documentation on pre-existing issues. And we should be all right.
Yeah, I just as an option, thank you for, glad we could all have humor with this. That makes it a lot easier. But I think it restored some of the things, and I think we tried to respect the natural boundaries where we could, and have some historic things. As I think John indicated, everywhere except using the river. The first ward has to include downtown, and not including the river, crossing the river there is kind of not possible, I don't think, to do this fairly. So I think this is turned out pretty well so far. Any other final comments from anyone?
I think the record should reflect that my numbers pretty much stayed the same with the addition of the 75 people Julius gave me.
We will note fully that Councilman Jimmy Hughes of the East Side's the 75 difference, but his numbers are staying the same. Thank you, Jimmy.
So when you get around to the next 10 years and we're doing this again, and remember, this was a peaceful transition here.
I would think too that we probably want to do a little cleanup in our rules and add maybe a calendar that we review annually, and add any dates, so we know in our first meeting we would review that calendar so we could encompass, it's on there. Someone's not going to do it for 10 years, but if it's in the rules of council, hopefully then we won't be, we'll know to look for the census when it comes out and what year that would be. So
Won't be
that.
Mike, first off, we just had the census, but we all realized that we just, not we as in this current body, but our city council only changed these lines 7 years ago, back in 2014, 2015. So, I mean, it's not like there was a 10-year gap even in between.
Right.
But we brought to our attention, and we got it done with all of us working together. And we're gonna all take a loving, caring position with our new residents.
Are we gonna put some type of education component out there? Because I know this is about to be super confusing for people. Everybody gonna be still getting phone calls from their old neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Other than us telling them, directly, are we planning on doing anything for information besides what the news is gonna put out?
Yeah, I think Julius, that's a good point. We probably could have a follow-up meeting on how we want to do some kind of media, or maybe even something, doing a paper in water bills probably could be the easiest, most cost-effective. Have Harry help us with that, and communicate that, and then do some other things. Good point. Lauren, you had your hand up.
Well, that was actually going to be my question.
Yep.
I think we need to do some type of outreach communication from our office directly to residents with.
Okay. Yeah. John, go ahead.
So I think along with that, probably want to do a bunch of different things so that we can reach everybody we need to reach. Now, not everybody has a computer. Okay, not everybody would be able to access a web map, but one thing that I could do, is to publish just a simple map on the web that has the ward boundaries that you can search by address. You just, search for your council person or search for your ward. It would be we already have the real property information system map out there. We could publish just a simple ward boundary map that people could access. So maybe one way to, get the word out,
That would be helpful. I think we would all agree that would be great having that.
Well, if I can comment, those maps that we've been putting out, you can't, you can't blow them up. You can't see, and you can't read the boundary lines on them.
Yeah, these are PDFs. So yeah, this would be on the web where you can zoom in and, you can search. So you can put in an address, put a point exactly on that structure, and then you can see, if you put anything else on that map too that you wanted, but I think in just the boundaries, I think it maybe be helpful. It's not, you're not going to reach everybody that way, but it'd be one thing that you could do.
I don't know if Julius or Anita was first.
No matter.
Go ahead, Julius.
Thank you. John, so you're gonna have this final map to us with the shift in population and everything just as fast as you had the other one to us?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, we get off the call. I'll send that over to everybody.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
And then okay, Anita.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so John, we should be able to do, like, if you look at in Akron, you actually do just like, I would pop in my address and it pops up that I'm in Ward 6. So that's what it would show. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I was hoping we would do that one day. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. No problem. When it's all finalized, I'll do that. That'll be simple.
Okay.
What
Tom,
would
are you? Yeah. Oh. Go, Jim. I think Tom had his hand up first.
I think we would just want to be clear about the timeline in terms of, like, when this goes into effect. How does that affect voting? Like, does it affect where people are going to vote this year or next year? I think we would just want to be clear about that so that no one is confused when they go to the polls this year.
Yeah, this would not impact voting. The Board of Elections has to react, but that is a good communication. This would not impact that. Because that ship has already sailed for those elections. Jimmy Jimmy was next. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Go ahead. I yield to Anita.
Okay.
Jimmy, go ahead.
Yeah, you like to beat a guy down, Lee. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so Mike, should we pass this as emergency piece? It would go into effect within the 30 days, correct? And regardless of what the election.
Yeah,
is,
it doesn't
I'm talking
matter,
about the
yeah.
election, but
I think we would schedule, to Tom's point, for clarification, we probably should have a council of the whole meeting with the Board of Elections, just to explain as even informational how this impacts it and what their timeline is. Does that make sense, everyone? I mean, I know with certainty it doesn't impact this election, but when will that, at what cycle do they incorporate these changes and when are they obligated to? Does that make sense?
but the election cycle and our cycle, for the purpose of representing our residents, are two different things. Because, so we're talking about immediately for our cycle.
Yeah, it's for our purposes of governing the city.
Right.
Those are different than the Board of Elections rules and how they change boundaries for their purposes.
Yeah, I just
So
want
we
to
would
make
need to
that clear.
understand the impact on those. And I think as Tom said, right, we need to know what that is so we let people know so they're not confused. Is that what you were saying? I think that's what everyone's basically saying here, right?
Right, so that within 30 days, our ward lines change. And
Right,
so
but that doesn't mean,
well, what I'm looking at is the fact that we're about to do this things so far as street pavement and stuff like that.
yeah, when this happened last time though, I believe that we still represented we were elected to represent those people. Regardless that we changed the boundaries, we're still representing the people we were elected to represent. The next group that is reelected is elected on a different set of boundaries. Is how I understand that. Your boundary doesn't change, and we don't change who we're representing. We were elected to represent those old lines. For the next cycle we have in the next election, those would be impacted for the next time council members are elected.
Okay, I'm gonna get
That's
that
how I
clear.
understand that. There's somebody
Law?
I don't know if Jeff had a view on that, but that's how it was the previous time we did this in 14. I mean, the wards were changed, but they didn't go into effect until the next cycle of the election.
I think you're right. I think there would be no other reason other than you mentioned the governance component.
Okay.
But does everyone think that we should do a meeting and have the folks from the Board of Elections there to talk about this? I think that would be a good idea. I see Samantha shaking her head. I think everyone's shaking their heads.
Yeah, I think that'd be good anyway, because there's been some changes at the Board of Election too, right?
Yeah, probably. So we should do that.
Good to swap information back and forth.
Yep. Anything else?
I don't like that Samantha is smiling so much. It's like, I think she feel like she gained too much, and it's not, we don't see Samantha smile that often. So
before we before we get ourselves in a situation, we're going to ask John to make these changes, distribute them, and then we would ask Jeff to draft legislation. Valencia, I see you're off mute. Did you want to comment?
No, only just to say, as soon as I get the information from Mr. Bredlich, I will get the process started.
Okay. Jeff, do you need anything else besides the map? I know that in the legislation, you sort of have a physical, like verbal description of the lines. Does John draw that up, or who
That would
provides
be helpful.
that? Okay.
Just one housekeeping thing. It matters not to me. I know there was some concern that it leaves it in the law director's hands if it's not done by tomorrow. There's obviously no concern there, but I didn't know if you wanted to have an emergency meeting to memorialize this within the time frame set out by the charter. It matters not to me. I just wanted to bring that issue up.
Yeah, we have that emergency meeting scheduled for 5 p.m. tomorrow, correct? Is that correct, everyone? Yep. So we would get hopefully have that legislation passed, and then we would or legislation drafted in our hands, then we can pass it tomorrow. Samantha, are you giving me a piece? Or you?
No, I just wanted to, before we come off the line, there was a few things that I want to ensure that we, some action items that I was hearing, but I want to be clear on and get some clarity. The first is that we plan to schedule a committee meeting of the whole with the Board of Elections in order to understand how us making these changes impacts them in their process. Is that one?
Yeah, everyone raise your hand. You all agree with that? We want that meeting. At some point. I mean, in the near future.
Okay, and then the
Go
other
ahead.
action item is that we would come together as a committee of the whole to work on our rules of council. And one thing we want to change or update is the timeline on which we view the census data or review the boundary lines. Is that correct?
Right, basically put a reminder in there saying, hey, you know, on these years, look out for these things, or review that calendar annually.
Okay, I just wanted to make
Thank you.
sure that I was clear on
No.
those action items.
Thank you for those summaries. Any other comments, or again, I think this went pretty well. I think Samantha gave us a good summary of this, and we all did an agreeable job. So we have a pretty full schedule tomorrow. There's 3 meetings back to back. I believe CPED is at 4, is that correct? And then at 5 is the emergency meeting. And then at 5:15 is our first round of budget hearings. That will all be in person on the 6th floor at City Hall. Any other messages or public service announcements? Okay, well, good work, everyone. We'll look forward to seeing the information from John and then the legislation, and we'll meet tomorrow. I will entertain a motion to adjourn
Motion to adjourn.
by
Second.
Basha, second by Anita. At what time is it? 10:47 a.m. We